Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances and with pranam. All glories to Srila Guru and Gauranga. So this was in continuation of our last discussion of On the Way to Kṛṣṇa book. We already completed 4 chapters. Now this was very last and summarizing chapter. So actually we can see the whole chapters slowly we come to this point of Krishna consciousness. First we think about the happiness, because everyone is striving for happiness. After understanding about happiness, we actually, how can we get happiness? By chanting and reading, by hearing the messages of Lord. So there is a chapter like chanting the names of Krishna. After chanting there are some difficulties. So the 3rd chapter is there. Chanting is there, but are we seeing the Krishna? Chanting without seeing the Krishna, is this also offense? Or it is also the dry chanting? So to realize that, you have to see Krishna everywhere. And this last one, the way on which we have to go. Which way? Wise or foolish? And now this is our final and conclusive chapter, that is steering towards the Supreme. So we can analyze that one by one, we getting the clue. Like first we got happiness, then chanting the Mahamantras, then how to remember Krishna, how to see Krishna. 4th one is about the roadmap, the ways, and after our destination is Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So how we can steer, like in car there is steering wheel. So it is like how we have to steer towards the Supreme. So how can we steer? Let us discuss. But before that we have to offer our prayers to the all Vaishnavas devotees and Acharyas. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuh Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shivanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratuse Namah Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome back to this session of series of discussion of On the Way to Kṛṣṇa book. This was very final lecture, final class, or maybe some final discussion. So after this we move towards our next book. Okay, so we are starting our discussion. Start our discussion. Please excuse me for my grammatical mistake. I know I am not that much learned, but I am trying just to repeat the words of Srila Prabhupada. So I am heartily sorry for that. Okay. Udraha sarva avaite jnanitva ametame matam astitaha sahiyuktatma mam anuttamam gatim. Translations. All these devotees are undoubtedly the magnanimous soul, but he who is situated in my knowledge of me, I considered verily to dwell in me, being engaged in my transcendental service, he attains me. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 18. Hare Kṛṣṇa is saying that all men who come to him, Hare Kṛṣṇa, it is here Kṛṣṇa. Here, Kṛṣṇa is saying that all the men who come to him, whether they be in distress, in need of money, curious, etc., are welcomed. But out of them, a person who is in knowledge is very dear to him. The others are welcome because it is understood that in course of time, if they continue on the path of God, they will become as good as men of knowledge. Generally, however, it so happened that when one goes to church for a profit, the money does not come. He concludes that approaching God is nonsense and he gives up all connection with church. That is the danger of approaching God with ulterior motive. For instance, during the World War II, it was reported that many wives of German soldiers went to church to pray for their husband's safe return. But when they found they had been killed in battle, they become atheistic. Thus, we want God to become our order supplier. When He does not supply our order, we say that there is no God. That is the effect of praying for material things. In this connection, there is a story of little boy about 5 years old named Dhruva, who belonged to the royal family. In course of time, his father, the king, tired of his mother and deposed her as his queen. He then took another woman as a queen, and she became stepmother to the boy. She was very envious of him, and one day, as Dhruva was sitting on the father's knee, he insulted him. "Oh, you cannot sit on the lap of your father," she said, "because you are not born of me." She dragged Dhruva from the father's lap, and the boy became very angry. He was the son of Kshatriya, and Kshatriya was notorious for their quick temper. Dhruva took this to be the great insult, and he went to his mother, who has been deposed. "Dear mother," he said, "my stepmother has insulted me by dragging me from the father's lap." "Dear son," mother replied, "what can I do? I am helpless, and your father no longer cares for me." "Well, how can I take revenge?" boy asked. Dhruva asked. "My dear boy, you are helpless. Only if God help you can take revenge." "Oh, where is God?" Dhruva asked enthusiastically. "I understand. So many sages go to the jungle and forest to see God," the mother replied. "They undergo great penances and austerity in order to find God there." At once, Dhruva went to the forest and began asking the tiger, the elephant, "Oh, are you God? Oh, are you God?" In this way, he is questioning all animals. Seeing that Dhruva was very much inquisitive, Sri Kṛṣṇa sent Narada Muni to see about the situation. Narada quickly went to the forest and found Dhruva. "My dear boy," Narada said, "you belong to the royal family. You cannot suffer all these penances and austerity. Please return to your home. Your mother and father are very much anxious for you. Please don't try to divert me in that. Way," the boy said. "If you know something about God, or if you know how can I see God, please tell me. Otherwise, you go away. Don't disturb me." That was his determination. When Narad saw that Dhruva was so determined, he initiated him as disciple and gave him the mantra, "Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya." Dhruva chanted this mantra and became perfect, and God became before him. "My dear Dhruva, what do you want? You can take from me whatever you want." "So, my dear Lord," the boy replied, "I was undergoing such a severe penances simply for my father's kingdom and land, but now I have seen you. Even great sages and saints cannot see you. What is my profit? I left my home to find merely some scrap of glass and rubbish, but instead I have found very valuable diamond. Now I am satisfied. I have no need to ask anything from you. That is transformation. Thus, even though one may be poverty-stricken or in distress, if he goes to God with the same determination as a Dhruva, that line is same determination as a Dhruva, or some determination must be there. Intent or seeing God, taking his benediction. And if he happens to see God, he will no longer want anything material. Half hour.
मेरे को ना ग्रोसरी ऑर्डर करना है, तो अभी ग्रोसरी ऑर्डर करना, मेरे को बताओ क्या क्या आइटम करना है, क्या क्या नहीं है। तो मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ, मैं आपको बुलाता हूँ थोड़ी देर में।
Thus, even though one may be poverty-stricken or in distress, if he goes to God with some determination as a Dhruva, intent on seeing God and taking his benediction, and if he happen to see God, he will no longer want anything material. He comes to understand that foolishness of material possessions, and he puts the illusion aside for the real thing. When one becomes situated in Krishna consciousness like Dhruva Maharaj, he becomes fully satisfied and does not want anything. The Jnani, the wise man, knows that material things are flickering. He also knows that there are three aspects that complicate all material gain. One wants profit from his work, one wants adoration from others because of his riches, and one wants fame because of his wealth. In any case, he knows that all of this apply to the body, and that when body is finished, they also go. When the body dies, one is no longer a rich man but a spirit soul, and according to his work, he has to enter another body. The Gita says that a wise man is not bewildered by this, for he knows what is what. Why then should we bother himself attaining the material wealth? His attitude is, I have an eternal connection with Kṛṣṇa, Supreme Lord. Now let me establish that relationship firmly so that Kṛṣṇa will take me back to his kingdom. The cosmic situation is giving us all facility to re-establish this relationship with Kṛṣṇa and return to Godhead. This should be our mission in life. Everything we need is being supplied by God. Land, grain, fruit, milk, shelter and clothing. I am reading once again, most important thing. The cosmic situation is giving us all facility to re-establish this relationship with Kṛṣṇa and return to Godhead. This should be our mission in life. Everything we need is being supplied by God. Land, grain, fruit, milk, shelter and clothing. We only have to live peacefully and cultivate Krishna consciousness. That should be our mission in life. We should therefore be satisfied with what God has supplied in form of food, shelter, defense and sex, and should not want more and more and more. The best type of civilization is one that ascribes to the maxim of plain living, high thinking. It is not possible to manufacture food or sex in a factory. This and whatever else we require are supplied by God. Our business is to take advantage of these things and become God conscious. Although God has given us all facilities to live peacefully on this earth, cultivate Krishna consciousness and finally come to Him. In this age we are unfortunate, we are short-lived, and there are so many people without food, shelter, married life or defense from the onslaught of nature. This is due to the influence of the age of Kali. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing the dreadful situation in this Kali, emphasized the absolute necessity for cultivating spiritual life. And how should we do it? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us formula. Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Harir Nam eva kevalam, kalau nastiva, nastiva, nastiva gatiranyatha. Just chant Hare Krishna. Never mind whether you are in factory or in hell or in a shake or in a skyscraper. It doesn't matter. Just go on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There is no expense. There is no impediment. There is no caste. There is no creed. There is no color. Anyone can do it. Just chant and hear. Somehow or other, if one comes to this contact with Krishna consciousness, and execute the process under the guidance of bona fide guide, he is sure to go back to Godhead. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavamam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Translation: After many birth and death, he who is actually in knowledge surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and that's it. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 19. Philosophical research into the science of God has to be prosecuted for many births. God realization is very easy, but at the same time it is very difficult. It is easy for those who accept Krishna's word as truth, but those who try to understand through research work by dint of advancement of knowledge have to create their faith after finishing so much research work, and this process takes many births. There are different types of transcendentalists called Tattvavit, who knows the absolute truth. The transcendentalists call the absolute truth that is which there is no duality. In absolute truth there are no duality. Everything is one on the same level. One who knows this is true is called Tattvavit. Krishna proclaims that the absolute truth is known in three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Impersonal Brahman, effulgence, localized super soul, and the supreme personality of Godhead. Thus, there are three angles from which one may envision the absolute truth. One may review a mountain from great distance and thus perceive it from one angle of vision. As he comes to closer, he may see the three trees and foliage on the mountain. And if he begin to climb the mountain, he will find so many varietedness in trees, plants and animals. The objective is the same, but due to different angle of vision, sages have different conceptions of absolute truth. Another example is there is a sunshine, the sun disk and the sun god. One who is a sunshine cannot claim that he is the sun itself, and one who is situated in the sun from the point of view of vision, better situated. The sunshine may be compared to the all-pervasive Brahmajyoti effulgence. The localized sun disk may be compared to the localized aspect of super soul, and the sun god who resides within the sun may be compared to the personality of Godhead. As on this earth planet we have multi-variety of living entity, we can understand from Vedic literature that in the sun also there is varieties of living entities, but their bodies are made of fire just as our are made of earth. In material world there are 5 gross elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether. Earth, water, air, fire, space. In different planets there are different atmospheres due to one of these 5 elements prevailing, and there are different bodies of different entities composed of whatever element may be predominant in particular planet. We should not think that all planets have same quality of life, yet there is uniformity in the sense that these 5 elements are present in some form or other. Thus, on some planet, earth is permanent, fire is permanent, water is permanent, air and space is permanent. We should not think, therefore, that just because the plant is not composed primarily in earth, or because atmosphere does not duplicate us, that is no life on these planets. Vedic literature gives us information that there are countless planets filled with living entities with different types of bodies. As by making some material adjustment, we may qualify to enter into different material planet. By qualification, we can enter into the spiritual planet where the Supreme Lord resides. Yanti deva vrata devan pitran yanti pitravrata bhutan yanti bhutegya yanti mat yatino maham yanti mat yajino pimham. Translation: those who worship the demigod will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ancestor go to the ancestor. Those who worship me will live with me. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 25. Those who are trying to enter higher planets can go there, and those who are trying to qualify to enter into Goloka Vrindavana, the planet of Kṛṣṇa, can also enter there by process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Before going to India, we may acquire a description of what the country is like, the hearing of the place, the first experience. Similarly, if we want to get information about the planet where God lives, we have to hear. We cannot immediately make an experiment and go there. That is not possible. But we have so many descriptions of the supreme planet in the Vedic literature. For instance, in Brahma Samhita says, Chindamani Prakarasadma Sugalpa Vriksha Lakshavrateshu Shurabhi Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahastra Satasam Ravasayamyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, fulfilling our desires in abode and built with spiritual gems, surrounded by the millions of well-fulfilling trees, wish-fulfilling trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. There are also another detailed description is given specifically in Brahma Samhita. Those who are trying, I am reading once again. I worship the Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, fulfilling our desires, an abode built with spiritual germs, surrounded by millions of wish-fulfilling trees, always served with great reverence and affection by the hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. There are also other detailed descriptions given specifically in Brahma Samhita. Those who are trying to realize the absolute truth by categorize according to the aspect of absolute truth upon which they concentrate. Those who concentrate in Brahman, the impersonalists, are called Brahmavads. Generally, those who are trying to realize the absolute truth, first of all, realize the Brahma Jyoti. Those who concentrate on the super soul, to the localized form of Lord in the heart, is called Paramatma, also known as Paramatma Yadi. The meditator and concentrated one can perceive with this form. Not only is he within anyone's heart, but he is situated also within every atoms of creation. This Paramatma realization is the second stage. That third and last stage is a realization of Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because there are three main stages of realization, the Supreme Absolute is not attained in one birth. Bahunam Janmanamanti. If one is fortunate, he can achieve the ultimate in 1 second. But generally it takes many years and many births to realize what God is. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajanti mam buddhabhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who knows this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 8. The Vedanta Sutra also confirms that the absolute truth is He from whom everything is born. If we truly believe that Kṛṣṇa is origin of everything and does not believe and says, oh, I want to see the God, what is God is, he has to go by stages of realization, impersonal Brahma, effulgences, then Paramatma and localized feature before finally coming to the last stage of realizing, oh, there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. It should be understood. However, that process takes more time. When one through many years of research come to realize the absolute truth, he conclude Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva is all that is. Vasudeva is the name of Kṛṣṇa, and it means he who lives everywhere. Realizing that Vasudeva is the root of everything, Mam Prapadyanti, he surrenders. The surrendering process is the ultimate goal. Either one does it immediately or after many bursts of research work. In either case, surrender must be there by realizing that God is great and I am His subordinate. Understanding this, the wise man will surrender immediately and not wait to take many bursts. Understand that this information is given by Supreme Lord out of His infinite mercy on the conditioned soul. We are all conditioned souls, suffering the threefold miseries of this material world. Now the Supreme Lord is giving us opportunity to escape these miseries by the surrendering process. At this point, one may ask that if Supreme Personality of God is the ultimate goal, and one has to surrender unto Him, why there are so many different processes of worship in the world? This question is answered in next verse. Kamistaistirhata jnanah prapadyante nyadevata tam nevam asthaya prakritya nivastaya savya svaya. Translation. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 20. There are many different types of men in the world, and they are functioning under the three different modes of material nature. Generally speaking, most men are not after liberation. If they are take to spirituality, they wish to gain something by spiritual power. It is not uncommon in India for a person to go to a Swami and say, Swamiji, could you give me some medicine? I am suffering from this disease. He thinks that because the doctor is too expensive, he can go to Swami who can work miracle. In India also there are Swamis who go to the people's houses and preach. If you give me 1 ounce of gold, I can make it into 100 ounce of gold. The people may think, I have 5 ounces of gold, let me give it to him and I will get 5,000 of ounce. In this way, the Swami collects all gold in village. After collecting it, he vanishes. This is our disease. When we go to Swami or a temple or a church, our hearts are filled with material desires, wanting some material profit out of spiritual life. We practice yoga just to keep our body healthy and fit. But in order to keep healthy, why take shelter of yoga? We can become healthy through regular exercise and regulated diet. Why resort to yoga? Because kami steistir hata jnanam. We have material desire to keep ourselves fit and to enjoy life by going to church and making God our order supplier. Having material desire, men worship various demigods. They have no idea how to get out of matter. They want to utilize the material world to its best capacity. For instance, in Vedic literature, there are so many recommendations. If one wants to cure his disease, he worships the sun. If girl wants to good husband, she worships Lord Shiva. Or if one wants to become beautiful, he worships such and such God. Or if one wants to become educated, he worships Goddess Saraswati. In this way, the Westerners often think that the Hindus are polytheistic, but actually this worship is not to a god, but to our demigods. We should not think that the demigods are God. God is one, but there are demigods who are also living entities like us. The difference is that they can have considerable amount of power. On this earth there may be a king or president or dictator. These are the men like us, but they have some extraordinary power. And in order to get favor from them, to take advantage of their power, we worship them in one way or another. But Bhagavad Gita condemns worship of the demigods. This verse clearly states that people worship the demigods due to kama, material lust. This material life is simply based on lust. We want to enjoy this world and we love this material world because we want to gratify our senses. This lust is a perverted reflection of our love of God. In our original constitution, this lust, we are made to love God, but because we have forgot God, we love matter. Love is there. Either we love matter or we love God. But in no case we can we get out of this loving propensity. Indeed, We often see that when one does not have children, he loves cats or dogs. Why? Because we want and need to love something. In the absence of reality, we put our faith or love in cats and dogs. Love is always there, but it is distorted into the form of lust. When this lust is baffled, we become angry. And when we become angry, we become illusion. And when we are illusion, we are doomed. This is the process that is going on. But we have to reverse this process to turn lust into love. If we love God, we love everything. If we do not love God, it is not possible to love anything. We may think that it is love, but simply the glamorized form of lust. Those who have become the dog of lust, is said they have lost all good sense. Kamaistasteer hata jnanam. There are many rules and regulations for worship of demigods in the scriptures, and one may question why the Vedic literature recommended their worship. There is necessity. Those who are motivated by lust want to opportunity to love something, and demigods are acknowledged as offered of officer of Supreme Lord. The idea is that one worship the demigods, he will gradually develop Kṛṣṇa consciousness. But if one is completely atheistic and disobedient, rebellious against any authority, what hope is there? So one's obedience to the higher personality can start with the demigods. If, however, we take directly to worship the Supreme Lord, worship of demigods is not necessary. But they do not need to worship them, because they know that supreme authority behind the demigods is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they are engaged in worshipping Him. In any case, respect is still there. A devotee of Lord shows respect to even ant, what to speak of demigods. The devotee is aware that all living entities are part and parcel of Supreme Lord, and that they are playing different roles only. In relation to the Supreme Lord, all beings are to be respected. Therefore, devotee refers to others as Prabhu, meaning my dear sir, my dear Lord. Submissiveness is a qualification for a devotee of the Lord. Devotees are kind and obedient. 2 minutes. Devotees are kind and obedient, and they have all good qualification. In conclusion, if one becomes devotee of Lord, all good quality will automatically develop. By nature, living entity is perfect, but due to contamination of lust, he becomes vicious. That wish is a part and parcel of God. Part and parcel of God is also God. And whatever part and parcel of complete is also perfect. Complete perfect is also perfect. Om Purvam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Uchyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Aveshishyate. The personality of God is perfect and complete because He is completely perfect. All emanation from His such His phenomenal word are perfectly equipped with our complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. He is because complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from He remains the complete balance. Shri Ishopnishad invocation. Due to contaminations of matter, the perfect living entities fall down, but this process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness will again make him perfect. Through it, he can become truly happy, and after leaving this material world, he enter into the kingdom where there is eternal life, blissful and knowledge. So we are completing this book, which is known as On the Way to Kṛṣṇa, one of the collection from the lecture of Srila Prabhupada. So, offering our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and pray to please bless with intense love of Godhead. Hare Kṛṣṇa, your servant, British Manidas.